Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Friday, June 11th, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is the host of E3, Greg Miller.
What's up, Blessing Adeoye Jr.? Are you prepared? It is E3 weekend. We are in the throes of it. How are you feeling?
I'm very excited. We just got done doing Netflix Geek Week, and I feel like between doing Summer Games Fest Kickoff yesterday and doing Geek Week today, we've already had the two kind of like ends of E3 where we got like Summer Games Fest Kickoff, had awesome announcements, well put together. Netflix Geek Week, chaos, just utter mayhem. And we still got like good tidbits from it. We still got like fun pieces of news that I think we're all excited about, and we're gonna talk a lot about that in the actual Roper report. But we're in it, and I feel like I'm in it. Like I'm
Spectrum
very
is
excited
happening.
for the rest
Yeah.
of it.
So like, yeah, you're talking about you've had Summer Games Fest, you've had Netflix. Where will Koch Media fall today at noon?
Oh my god. I mean, do you have any idea? Like, do you have any expectations for Cook Media? That's happening at noon.
I don't. I'm excited for a lot of double A games. I think that's what you'll be seeing. I thought it was
Mm.
interesting, right? When Deep Silver was like, listen, we're not going to be there. Like, you're not going to see a Saints Row. You're not going to see any of our other properties there. Which then leads me to believe there's going to be a lot of other games there, but like, to what caliber they'll be. I think we'll get one, like, oh my God, that's awesome thing. At least one, oh my God, that's awesome thing out of it. And I think the
Mhm.
rest will probably be double A games that speak to a very specific audience.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. For you, how are you feeling about this coming weekend? Like, both as a host, somebody who's hosting E3, where are you at there? And then also for the rest of the conferences, for the rest of the presentations, are you getting more excited as we're getting closer?
Yeah. So at the back end of your question, yeah, I think right now it's one of those electric feelings, right? And I missed E3 last year, and we had it to an extent with all these different conferences, but it wasn't the same thing. And it definitely, being in a hotel, being in LA, being on site here makes it feel different. But it is that idea of this building energy to this, 4 day extravaganza, which again is a 6 day extravaganza. But in terms of E3 itself, like, Coke Media, what are we expecting? Some, cool games, some announcements that'll speak to some, very specific audiences. But then, it starts hitting of, Gearbox, then Square, then Microsoft, then, Nintendo. Like, what is going to happen at the big showcases? And it's one of those where you have to imagine at those, Bethesda's going to have Starfield, you hope. You know what I mean? Nintendo, are they going to show the Switch Pro? What's going to happen on these things? Like, there are actual opportunities for really big things to happen there that get me super excited for it as just a fan of what E3 is, let alone the fact that it's, all day, every day for 4 days. And then as a host, yeah, I'm super excited. I'm anxious to get out there. We went and did rehearsals on Wednesday. And it was, when Jackie and I were standing up there rehearsing the intro to the show, it was that energy of like, this is awesome, but I really wish today was Friday and tomorrow was Saturday and we were going right into it.
Mm.
Not because we're worried about, staying loose or staying, ready to go. It's just that energy of being there. And I think the presentation for E3 itself is going to catch a lot of people off guard. And then I think, yeah, the caliber of announcements and how the show is actually structured from the E3 side of it is going to keep people entertained.
Hell yeah. We're going to keep talking about E3, Greg, because today's stories include even more Elden Ring details, Jedi Fallen Order releasing next gen, and more, because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/Kind of Funny Games. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/Kind of Funny Games, roosterteeth.com, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kind of Funny Games Daily. To be a part of the show, at patreon.com/Kind of Funny Games, where bronze members or above get to write in, and silver members or above get the show ad free with the exclusive daily post show. Housekeeping for you, E3 continues on. The reactions to all of yesterday's Summer Games Fest kickoff events and Day of the Devs are up on YouTube, so you can go check that out if you missed that. And of course, our
Don't stop.
Gamescast reaction. What's up?
How much did you enjoy Day of the Devs? When I was going to bed last night, thinking back on the Day of the Devs is the one I went back to. Like, man, that was like there were so many great games during Day of the Devs.
Yeah. Dude, I want to go back and finish the stream because if you watch the live
Right, you
reactions, I had
left.
to pop out. Yeah, I had to pop out halfway through so I can get this fresh ass haircut.
Oh,
But
you
yeah,
look good
because of
though.
that, oh, thank you. Because of that, I did miss out on the second half, but the first half of what we did see was actually really cool. It was super awesome
Yeah.
to see Axiom Verge 2. It was super awesome to see Toem, I believe it was called. And there are a few
Mhm.
other games there that looked really cool, like Garden Story, of course. It was one that didn't necessarily speak to me, but I know will speak to folks like Joey Noel and folks who are into those types of games. And then also there was a musical story, I believe is what it's called, which looked
It
really
is a
cool.
musical story. I have all my notes here. Yeah, you loved a musical story. We thought that looked great. Yeah, Moonglow Bay stole my heart. I can't wait for that. A little fishing game with a whole bunch of different town stuff going on. Yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I want to go back and catch up on that. But if in case you guys haven't checked it out yet, youtube.com/kindafunnygames is where you can go to catch up on that. And then of course our Gamescast reactions to Summer Games Fest, breaking down the show bit by bit, is up. And so if you're looking for all the details of Summer Games Fest Kickoff, go check that out. This episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily will be basically following up on more details about the bigger things we got, and of course stuff that we got over the course of last night and this morning. But speaking of things going on today, Koch primetime, Koch primetime.
We've been saying Coke. We said
Coke?
we've been saying Coke, like the Koch brothers,
Okay.
even though we
The
don't think
Koch
they're
brothers.
related.
Okay. Koch primetime reactions are happening later today. Like Greg said, that's happening at noon Pacific time. Remember, we'll be reacting to all of the big presentations all weekend long right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. I believe the plan is to basically be live all day during the E3 days, and so even during the times where there's not a presentation, you might be able to catch us playing some Warzone or some Knockout City, especially because it's double XP weekend, and so let's go with that. But yeah, it's gonna be a party all day long, all weekend long, and so make sure to tune in right here, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames for all the shenanigans. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Donovan Harkness and Blackjack. Today we're brought to you by Honey, Caviar, and Credit Karma, but I'll tell you about those later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
Baker's dozen.
Now, of course, yesterday, the biggest announcement that we got out of Summer Games Fest was Elden Ring. All right, we got a new trailer, we got gameplay, we got a new date, January 21st, 2022. We're all hyped about it. Coming off of that, we've got some more details regarding Elden Ring and what you can expect. And joining me and Greg to talk about those details, we got the one, the only, twitch.tv/Andy Cortez. Andy, are you there? How's it going?
I'm fantastic. How are y'all doing this morning? Good to see y'all. Hope y'all
Good
doing
to
well.
see you too, man.
Good to
Doing
see
well,
you,
doing
Andy.
really well.
Do you want to turn on your
Now,
camera, Andy?
I'm gonna.
No.
Right?
Yeah, you
Andy,
can
do you want to
hang out,
just
boys.
do you want to just pre-order me the pizza you're gonna owe me when they delay Elden Ring?
Elden Ring will not be delayed. Once again, just like on yesterday's stream, I said it in front of thousands of people, Greg. I said 4,000 of you all. 4,000 of you all are here right now. I will bet Greg right now a pizza that the January 21st date is going to happen. 1,000%. No doubt about it. Put it on your grave, Greg Miller. Put it on your fucking grave. And then I'll be eating pizza on your fucking stupid ass grave too.
Well, here's what else I want you to know. The coward of the county, Timur Hussein, who's hiding in chat, but too cowardly to come on the show right now and talk about Elden Ring, texted me and said to stop putting Elden Ring delay energy into the world. Don't do this to us. And then he said, and I'll screenshot it for the record, if it's delayed, I will get all all of you pizzas. So...
Wow. Well, shoot,
There you
man.
go.
Shoot, I might get a
Timur.
pizza too. I might get a pizza as well.
Yeah. the pizza you get for the delay, you
clear,
can send to me.
right?
Pass on.
When it
Here's the
comes
thing,
to when it comes to the stuff behind the scenes, though, we do know that it has kind of just been internally delayed behind the scenes several times, I believe. At least like 2 or 3 times. I don't know if Timur has been hearing the same things, but like just because it hasn't been publicly delayed, don't think that doesn't mean that they haven't been internally delaying stuff, because I believe the game was supposed to come out this year.
Yeah.
No delays.
Andy,
There will be no delays.
Thank
Oh,
you.
there he is.
Cam.
That's Timur Hussein from GameSpot. Tim, how much time do you have to stick around? Because I'm gonna go through some of these details and be
I'm
honest with
here,
you, your
baby.
opinion on
I'm
these
here
things.
with you.
He's here,
I'm
baby.
Just here. Now, before I even get into it, I will say I consider myself on Andy and Tim's side of like the hype machine, right? I'm very excited for Elden Ring. I can't wait to get it. But like I think Greg's on the money here. I think this game's gonna get delayed. I don't think we see
For the
January.
record, from the presentation yesterday, I thought that looked great. I want to play the game. This isn't me being just like talking shit to talk shit. I just don't think they'll hit the date.
Yeah.
Why? Why do
Yeah.
you think that? Because Jason
games always
Schreier
get
put it out
delayed.
there? Because
No, I
Imran
said
Khan
it before
put it out
Schreier
there?
even tweeted. I said it before Schreier even tweeted, which now means all the minds of the industry are saying it's gonna be delayed. The minds.
Greg Miller,
It's-
you are a
it's
force
from
for
software also.
positivity. You're a force for positivity. You're always trying to uplift the community.
There's no negativity
Thank
about a
you.
delay. There's
Why-
no
Thank
negativity.
you, Cam.
Why are you taking this away from us? Like, help us by
Here's- I'm
putting
not.
positive energy out
If
into the
anything,
world.
you know what? I'm
You
trying
know,
to set realistic
I hope
expectations.
Ghostbusters gets
Hey,
delayed.
it-
I
it's
hope
like- oh, wow.
It's
Ghostbusters
been
gets
delayed
delayed.
multiple times
I
now.
hope it gets delayed again.
Damn, it's taking it there. Listen, Miyamoto had the quote. Miyamoto had the famous quote where he said, "Delay your shit because we're tired
Yeah.
of these games coming out broken." All right, that was
Yo,
verbatim
if
what
this
Miyamoto
game's gonna be
said.
broken, delay that bitch. Is what
And
he
that's the
said.
thing, right? If
Yeah.
it gets delayed, that's a good thing because that means they're not allowing a bad product to get out there, right? Like, it's not like they're not out here putting out the Cyberpunk 2077s of the world. You know what I mean?
From
You know what I
software
mean?
putting out a bad product. Imagine.
Yeah.
So Andy said it
exactly,
earlier.
exactly.
Andy said it earlier, but rumbling and what from everything I've heard, that game was supposed to be out ages ago. Like, and in a lot of ways was ready to come out ages ago. So if it does get delayed, I'd be very, very surprised. I mean, I'm slightly drinking my own Kool-Aid,
Kool-Aid.
Flavor Aid. I was going to say Kool-Aid, but it's incorrect because the actual drink that was used was Flavor Aid. So people often get that
Mm.
wrong. But if you're a aficionado
What
of
is-
true crime, then you know
what
that.
is
Sure,
Flavor Aid?
Hydrox cookies came before Oreos, but nobody cares about Hydrox. All right, we just
Exactly.
give in to the brand marketing.
Yeah, but like it's from what I've been led to believe, it's in decent shape. So I would be surprised, like if they're like, oh man, we need to delay it for another 6 months or 2 months, whatever it may be. I feel like it's solid. What kind of COVID messed with a lot of things, and then I imagine a significant portion of it was also like, how do you market that game in the current world? It's not easy to do, right? Like, and those games more than any need extra marketing because we care a lot about them, but outside of our sphere of gaming, it's hard to make that stuff sing. That's why for like previous Dark Souls games, they've had like celebrities come out and be like, "Oh, I really love this Dark Souls game." Like I remember going to an
Paris
event for
Hilton.
Dark
Paris
Souls,
Hilton.
and exactly Peter Serafinowicz. I was at an event for Dark Souls, and Peter Serafinowicz was standing at the wrong end of the event hall, and we were both there, and we were like, "How do we get in?" But we could hear the noises of Dark Souls coming from beyond a wall, so I had to give Peter Serafinowicz a leg up over a wall so he could climb over and get into the Dark Souls event. That man is tall and very large. Why didn't he give me the leg up? That's all I'm saying, Peter. You should have boosted me over the wall, you lazy
Wow, I
mother.
didn't expect him to be,
That's like a
just airing
left
dirty
turn. That was
laundry.
Sarah Fitowitz.
You don't know Peter Serafinowicz?
No,
You know Peter Serafinowicz. He's the
You
tick.
know
He was
him.
in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was Darth Maul's voice. You know Peter Serafinowicz. He's in Dark Souls
Sarah?
too.
Well, while Greg looks this up,
Fitowitz.
I'm gonna pull in what Matt Kim had to say from IGN. Because as a reminder, of course, Elden Ring was revealed yesterday. Since then, we've gotten more details. Matt Kim writes this: Elden Ring rises. After a 2-year-long vow of secrecy, Elden Ring premiered a new gameplay trailer as well as announced a January 21st, 2022 release date for consoles and PC. Bandai Namco, who's publishing Elden Ring for From Software, has released a new fact sheet that dives deeper into the gameplay trailer we saw today as part of the big reveal. That includes several key points about the world From Software and George R.R. Martin have cooked up together. According to the fact sheet, Elden Ring is set to be FromSoft's largest game to date. While FromSoft's Soulsborne games have always had a sense of scale to them, the trailer for Elden Ring looked to take things to a whole new level. The player character has to traverse this land by horseback to get around, which is a first for any Souls title. Snuck into a press release, Elden Ring will also have, quote, a natural weather and time of day progression. While night and day and various moon cycles have featured in From Software games in the past, they have always been marked by specific encounters or instances. In Bloodborne, for example, a changing of the moon cycle was permanent, but in Elden Ring, it appears night and day, and even specific weather conditions can come and go dynamically. The fact sheet has shared a couple of different locales and biomes players will encounter in Elden Ring. This includes grassy plains, suffocating swamps, spiraling mountains, foreboding castles, and other sites of grandeur on a scale never seen before in a From Software title, end quote. I want to bring in one more bit that's from Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle, who writes about how Elden Ring will feature online multiplayer for up to 4 players. In a fact sheet distributed on Thursday following the debut of a new Elden Ring trailer and the announcement of a January 2022 release date, the developers' docs listed the support for online multiplayer. And a press release stated that players will be able to traverse on foot or horseback, alone or online with friends across grassy plains, suffocating swamps, and lush force. Timur Hussein, you're the person who I believe is the most hype I've ever seen for Elden Ring. All right, you got mad hype for that Elden Ring. What does all this do for you? Are you excited about 4-player co-op online and open world?
Yeah, I am massively excited about this. Like, co-op is something that is. So what I'm excited about is I feel like From Software might be starting to understand that co-op is a big part of their games now, and as a result will make the barrier to achieving that a little easier. Like most part, like we've had co-op in previous games, but it's obtuse. It's really difficult to get it working. If it's PvP, it's like really hard to make that happen. If it's cooperative, you need to find summon signs, and like you guys remember how difficult or tricky it was for us to get in the same place for Bloodborne when I was helping you guys,
Yeah.
and that's just it's menus and weird crap like that. So my hope is like that they understand that by thinking about co-op as a core part of their game, they will also streamline the process a bit more. There's more things in that trailer that make it interesting. Like they show the at one point a character picking up like what looked like a cosmic cube and breaking it, and then a character appears. And I don't know what the implications of that is, but it's starting to make me think of like the pawn system in Dragon's Dogma, which could be like in my mind backseat designing. I'm like, oh shit, I could summon like Greg could play or Blessing could play and have their character, and then I could summon them using that item, and Greg doesn't have to be there, or you don't have to be there, Blessing.
Yeah, it's like my
Their
ghost
character.
or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it works kind of, and it does feel like the evolution of the ghost spirit stuff, and they do a similar thing in Neo. So that stuff is really
cool.
really cool. And like giving people the opportunity to play with each other easier just means making it easier to get people into it. Like if we can get more folks, from Kind of Funny playing, like we could feasibly get Nick in a crew, for example, and he's not someone who's going to be into Bloodborne or any of the Souls games, but if there's 3 of us and him, like and it's easy to get him in, surely more likely to be into that.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to talk about the time of day progression and the whole weather system, because I think that's fascinating for a From Software game, because as the article mentioned, right, and something like Bloodborne or in other Souls games, like time of day changing usually means something. That usually means that the game is shifted into a different instance. That usually means that there's something narratively that's going on in the world of the game. This being
Link, the blood moon rises. Link.
exactly. This being the case, that there's going to be more of an ongoing time of day progression, I think is really cool. I think that speaks to it being a more vast world and open world. They also talk about it being From Software's biggest game to date in terms of scope. And so I wonder, like the thing that this gets me excited about specifically would be the idea that, hey, maybe at nighttime, like certain things in the game changes, right? Like certain events might only be able to happen at night. Certain events might only be able to happen during rain, or there's something narratively that ties into, oh no, okay, so like at this time of day in the world of Elden Ring, that's when the fucking, I don't know, aliens come down and consume the land or some shit, because that's how From Software thinks. Does that do anything for you guys? Or do you guys have that sort of expectation for it? I want to talk to Andy about that.
It's interesting for me because I feel like the world that From Software puts out in a lot of their games, there's so many times you're like, I'm in a place that doesn't exist. There's no real, like, I don't know if it's daytime or nighttime. The sky is pink. So, like, who even knows what's happening right now?
No rhyme or reason, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so what I would imagine, I mean, I think it would be really cool, and I wouldn't put it past From Software to have the dungeons that you will be, venturing towards throughout this big open land. I wouldn't put it past them to have the time of day have big implications on what happens in the dungeons, maybe gameplay wise. But I also feel like they may want those sort of boss dungeon sections to be really handcrafted, and maybe the time of day doesn't affect that. Maybe it only affects the open world that you're running throughout. And then when you get to the dungeons, it's a very sort of scripted look and scripted vibe. Hey, this area wouldn't really work at 11 a.m. It needs to be dark and dreary and scary. But I do see the open world having these large sort of implications when it comes to time of day. I think that I'm sure they saw what Breath of the Wild has done, and maybe want to, invoke some of those, cool little systems and put that into the gameplay. I'm stoked for it. It's nothing that I was expecting. I was not expecting that. I usually think that they like to have a very handcrafted experience with how their world looks. So I'm excited to see
Mhm.
what sort of creative uses they could use it for.
Yeah, to
Well,
like
I mean, sorry,
quickly hop
even as
in.
an
Oh, sorry.
outsider, right, to the franchise, right? Like, I think that's what gets exciting because, yeah, I do think if you're doing time of day, there's going to be stuff to it, and then it becomes that question of, yeah, what time of day do you need to be in this tunnel for this thing to spawn, for that thing to be a door to go over here and find this secretive thing?
Yeah, like you talk about the mystery of Souls games too, right? And like in Bloodborne, you can find NPCs that'll give you quests, and a lot of it is
Mm.
very like shrouded in mystery and like, okay, how in the world am I supposed to do this? I could see that tying to a time of day as well of like, hey, I need you in the dead of night to go over here and kill this person for me, and that'll activate some in-world event. Like I think that provides the opportunity for that to happen. But Tamora, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say from a lot of what I've seen, it feels like both an amalgamation and an evolution of a bunch of ideas from various Souls games, and I feel like Andy's right in that. I feel like this is gonna apply to the overworld. Again, I am high on Elden Ring, and I'm thinking very much like, what would I do? And the thing that I think that From Software has experimented with in the past and then didn't really come back to, but I feel like its time is due again, was world tendency from Demon Souls. That
Mhm.
was an incredibly obtuse part of the game where the way you behaved would impact what the things that you saw. I feel like they could do something really cool by adapting that for time tendency, where it is very much that in the overworld, timing and way you behave could act you could get access to different parts of the world. And there's also like quest lines that are really difficult to progress in the Souls games unless you know where to be at the right time and what conditions will make that happen. If they linked quest lines and world tendency into time of day progression, they could kind of make this really cool system where you're seeing more different parts of the world and progressing characters at the same time just through the passage of time. So I would love to see that like world
Mhm.
tendency stuff come back.
Now, in the article, they also mentioned grassy plains, suffocating swamps, spiraling mountains, foreboding castles, and other sites of grandeur on a scale we've never seen before in a Software title. Tam, for you, like, how does the setting speak to you?
I think the thing that is really fascinating for me is there's always so the From Software's games, they always have a diversity of, for lack of a better phrase, biomes. They're not traditional biomes in the way that we'd think of in most other games, but they have, somewhere like Ashina proper in Sekiro to Fountainhead Palace. That's very very different in style, right?
Mhm.
But there's always like a theme, a thread, an aesthetic thread that carries it from throughout.
Yeah, like this
In
area, you're only walking on dead bodies. That's
Yeah,
the biome
exactly.
here. Yeah.
Exactly. But like
Yeah.
underneath that all, like Yharnam is always Yharnam. The world of Bloodborne always feels like Bloodborne. The interesting thing about this is it looks like five different games at five different times in that trailer. And it's just like aesthetically so diverse. And that's super exciting. But what makes it more exciting is like how are they going to tie all that together? Because they will try. And I know that,
Yeah.
that's what Miyazaki loves to do. And that is going to be like that is pure full fuel for looking into item descriptions, figuring things out. For people that love to dig into lore and make videos, the Vatis of the world, like that just looks like the most exciting thing. And that's what I'm excited about as well. Like there's so much to check out in that world, open world, and then like the dungeon stuff, the diversity of scenes, and then how it all gets tied together. That's going to be so cool to dig into. That's like a year's worth of like content to dig into.
Yeah. Andy, do you feel the same about the setting? Does is when I say suffocating swamps, does that sound like
Oh, sure. It
an
sounds about
exciting thing for you?
right. It
Yeah.
sounds about right. Yeah, like there's always, as I was playing through Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and just having everybody in chat saying like, "Oh, wait till he gets to this place. Well, wait till he gets over here." There's always a swamp level. It always fucking sucks. You always hope you have the one item that helps you run through the mud and the sludge a lot faster. That way, you're not super slow, and all these faster enemies are coming after you. It sounds about right. I'm not too surprised by having these weird biomes. The one thing I was noticing in the trailer was just those larger kind of POI set pieces that I don't know if those are necessarily going to be in the overworld. Those look to be a bit more boss focused. Like this
Yeah,
is
like set
this is
piecey.
the arena that you are fighting the boss, and that's why it looks this way. But yeah, I'm not too surprised by all the other stuff. I also want to point out, just kind of on a tangent, that I think back to the Game Awards, where the most anticipated game voted by the fans was Elden Ring, and everybody on Twitter is, what the fuck is Elden Ring, and why is it losing to every other game they were
Yeah,
mentioning?
like
Breath
God
of the
of War,
Wild
Ragnarok,
2,
Breath of the
God of
Wild
War
2.
Ragnarok. Yeah, Elden Ring won that vote, and then to see the audience and see Twitter react to why, who, what is this? And I hope that they saw yesterday just the excitement in Jeff
pop.
Keighley's voice, hearing his voice trembling, as this has been something he's been waiting for. I ended up looking at I saw some of Jeff Grubb's podcast over on his YouTube channel, which I recommend to go watch. He talked about
I don't recommend that.
Oh shit.
I'm
Okay,
contractually
well.
obliged to recommend it.
Yeah,
Ah, damn
contractually
it.
obliged. Yeah, over at youtube.com/Jeff Grubb's game. I don't know what his fucking channel is called though. Like, I don't know. Just look for Jeff Grubb's
It's-
game.
Yeah,
it's-
just see Jeff Grubb. By the way, as
on
you're going,
YouTube.
Greg, you should probably
Jeff Grubb,
refresh
you're
your
in the
Discord.
chat. Come on in. Tell us what your channel's called.
It's
Jeff
called
Grubb's
Big.
Game
It's
Master.
called Big
Refresh,
Hair
by the
Don't
way.
Care.
On YouTube. He mentioned that the reason that this showed up here and not on the Xbox conference, which, you know, apparently Xbox was trying to get them again for their conference, that maybe they kind of wanted to be a bit more platform agnostic and just kind of show up in a presentation with a bunch of other, you know, platform agnostic games. So that's why we didn't see it at the Xbox conference, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Now, Greg, for you, somebody who played through Bloodborne and really
Yeah.
enjoyed Bloodborne, but I don't think you consider yourself like a huge Souls person.
Correct.
For you, what is it that you want Elden Ring to do to bring you in even deeper?
I would say give me more of a upfront narrative for what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
Nope,
Give
sorry.
me that kind of connection. You're sorry, that's not gonna happen immediately. No, that's not gonna be the thing. Like,
Not
I
a
like
chance.
this idea of these, you know, grassy plains, suffocating swamps, spiraling mountains, foreboding castles. Like, what is the thing? What is the breadcrumb trail? Why am I out there doing it? Again, if I'm just dropped in there and I have a horse and I can ride around and fight all these different things, that's cool, but I won't feel like the pressing need to keep going, probably.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the call, Jeff Grubb. Jeff, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you guys doing? That game looked pretty good, right?
Yeah, pretty
Look
nice.
pretty alright. Look pretty alright.
I
was
was
very
very excited. I think the best part still was just Jeff Keighley absolutely almost losing his mind just getting to announce it, though. That was maybe the highlight of E3 so far.
You could feel the passion
Yeah.
and love behind it. I was like happy for him, but happy for all of us. Like, it was just such a cool thing to see somebody just who loves video games, who's like, here it is. I'm so stoked for you to see this finally. It's
Yeah.
here.
It was awesome too because I feel you don't see Jeff Keighley like that often. Like you can always tell that he's a guy that really enjoys video games and is passionate about the things that he does and that he gets to do. But you know, oftentimes I lose sight of the fact that, you know, it's him doing the shit, right? Like it's him putting together these shows, and so much of that falls back on him and the work he does, the networking he does, and the way that he makes those connections. And to see him like in that moment getting that excited and that hyped to be able to announce Elden Ring and knowing how much that audience has been looking forward to that announcement, I thought was a really cool thing. But Jeff, for you, where are you at with the Elden Ring announcement? Like, you know, give us your laydown.
Yeah, I thought it was very well done. I thought the trailer was maybe more substantial than I thought it was going to be. I'm like, oh, you know, Jeff has it, but like, what is it really going to look like? Is it just going to be like a quick thing or something? No, it was like a full trailer that kind of gave us some new insights into the world. And I don't know, I thought it looked like the culmination of like everything that From's doing. Like it's got this, it definitely is like a Dark Souls successor, but there's like Sekiro stuff. Like there's a lot of Sekiro flavor in there that I was really jiving with. But
Yeah.
I just think overall, I think the big takeaway for me was, you know, why did it end up at Jeff Keighley's thing instead of the Xbox thing? I don't think there's going to be anything at the Xbox thing. We were trying to put two and two together on the podcast yesterday, and we think that maybe there is something to maybe developers are maybe afraid of upsetting Sony. I think the big thing there is like, you know, you looked at what happened to Cyberpunk, because when Cyberpunk partnered with Xbox and then messed up, it was a very easy decision for Sony to be like, get out of here. we don't want to deal with you. But if they hadn't made that deal, maybe they would have been treated a little bit better. Is kind of the thinking we have.
Now, Jeff, to interrupt you, I want to bring in a question from Hark It's Mark over on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames to ask about this exact thing. Hark It's Mark wrote in to ask, "What's up, KFGD crew? Elden Ring is real. We live in the good timeline. I'm very excited for the future kind of funny content once it releases. Scuttlebutt around the interwebs is that Microsoft wanted to reveal Elden Ring and was willing to offer a lot for it, but a certain Japanese competitor didn't want the game at a Microsoft event. What do you think of this rumor, and do you think this is a legit pocket where Jeff Keighley and Summer Games Fest can exist alongside E3 as a sort of neutral ground? Thanks, Hark, it's Mark." Jeff, yeah, can you circling back, right? Like, where did this rumor come from? Is there any do you think there's any validity to this rumor, and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I think it's fair to characterize it as a rumor right now, and I think it's there's no like direct evidence that that's what happened. I just think it's circumstantially that seems like that's probably what is happening here, because the way these deals work is Bandai Namco and From made this trailer, and Microsoft was just going to straight up pay them money for this trailer to show it at E3, and Bandai Namco said no to that, said no to the money, and then I do not believe, like, there was no PlayStation or Xbox stinger at the end of that trailer. There doesn't seem like there is a co-marketing deal right now. So it's not like Sony paid them. So then what happened there? And then you see, okay, it did go to Jeff Keighley. You know, we look at the caliber of games that ends up at Jeff Keighley's thing. He puts on a good show. I thought he did a really good job. But when a game this big that everyone wants ends up there, I think you can surmise that it ends up there because Jeff Keighley, as you put it, Blessing, he's filling this niche of, like, he is not associated with Xbox. He is not associated with PlayStation. He's not associated with E3, which has kind of an Xbox association. So if you are trying to remain platform agnostic, Jeff Keighley is going to, offer up that platform for you, and it's going to work out, a little bit better. If you're just trying to say, hey, we're coming out to everything, we're not playing favorites, we're not even going to take money from one of these companies right now. So please don't get mad at us, Jim Ryan. Yeah.
Well, Jeff Grubby Grub, my question then becomes, what about, why not debut this at the Bandai Namco thing you're doing at E3, that they're doing their own presentation?
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think that the E3 has an association with Xbox, or at least a perception that maybe Sony will see it as related to Xbox, because Xbox is there in E3, part of E3, and if you're going to show it at E3, maybe that's even close enough where you're worried about it. And Jeff Keighley is definitely platform agnostic. He is definitely not associated with Xbox or just PlayStation or just Nintendo. He's had everybody on his stage, and people realize that he is not coming down from one of these companies. Like, he's not getting sponsorships from Microsoft. I guess the biggest thing, he's going to do the Game Awards at the Microsoft Studios. So I guess that's like the biggest association he has. But I think overall, I think he just presents himself as in the middle and not associated with anybody. And that was what Bandai Namco wanted. I think that's specifically what they wanted.
There's also the question of, like, which one's got the clout. Like, Bandai Namco, who's compared the potential viewership between the Game Awards or Summer Games Fest and the Bandai Namco press conference. At a certain point, executives sit down and go, if we're going to market this game, which of these two are we putting it at? No one's going, let's put it at our own showcase and that's it, unless they want to tease it in a big way ahead of time. They're putting it, like, and as we all know, Jeff's ability to bring in people outside of gaming is, I mean, Ryan Reynolds was on the show, Giancarlo Esposito was on the show. That's like the wider world is looking at it. And like we said earlier, these games traditionally, they put a little more effort into marketing it. They don't need to market it to gamers. The gamers are buying it. They market it to people outside of it, which is why fucking Peter Serafinowicz, me giving him a bunk over the wall again. I'll never.
Pete from Shaun of the Dead. If you would have said you gave Pete from Shaun of the Dead a bounce over the wall, I would understand.
He was the guy. He was the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy that went.
Yeah, I know the dick message guy. Not dick message guy. The guy who went up there in the Nova Corps. I understand that now, but that was a weird one. He's clearly Pete. That's what everybody knows him for. But back to this, that makes sense, and that's the traditional E3 move, I guess, of like, hey, we're gonna debut something at one of the bigger shows and then put it into a smaller show. That makes sense to me in terms of that. I don't buy Jeffy Grub here's messaging that he thinks that debuting it in Bandai Namco would have been seen as something too much in line with Xbox for E3, but I do buy that, like, it's a question between if you go with Summer Game Fest or Xbox, where do you debut it to then drive eyes to Bandai Namco's presentation?
Right, that I don't know, but I do know that they were looking for Jeff Keighley because he was console agnostic. I know that was the reason. I know that Bandai Namco, like, this is my reporting, Bandai Namco turned down money from Xbox specifically and went with Jeff Keighley because he was console agnostic. That's all stuff that I am confirming. Like what is the motivation behind those choices? That I don't know. That is where I'm speculating. Why would they do that? So yeah. But if anyone has answers, I would love to hear them. But all that stuff, yeah, that I can confirm. I
Yeah.
can confirm
Yeah.
that's what's happening.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I mean, we know Microsoft has been super on top of Elden Ring. Like, we had that interview
Right.
with Phil Spencer a little while back, and he casually mentioned that he'd been playing it, but he has been. I know that Microsoft has been very much trying to court them to
For a
get
long
that.
time.
They need. They basically have created this scenario where they need a cyberpunk again. They need the Keanu Reeves moment, like a big thing. And Elden Ring is the biggest thing right now, so it makes
And
sense.
I think it could be like a number of things also, right? Like I think it could be what Jeff is saying and a little bit of what Tam has mentioned before. And I do think there's power in being able to go, okay, we could announce this at our own stream at a Bandai Namco presentation, or we could put this in a presentation with Giancarlo and Ryan Reynolds and this Borderlands game that they're announcing, and have Elden Ring be the main event of that stream. And that is going to do something more for Elden Ring than maybe having it on our own stage, or even having it on
100%,
Microsoft stage
100%.
alongside a Halo Infinite and Bethesda and Starfield. Like, you're not the main event in that stream, whereas on Jeff Keighley's stage you would be the main event, and you would get
Yes.
to own even multiple days of a news cycle, as opposed to going up on Sunday and maybe not being the biggest thing that day. I think there's strategy there.
That's
Jeff,
a good point. I still think that they turned down money, and they still would have been like a big thing at Xbox. And I think it's weird, but honestly, the game's going to come out, and we're all going to play it and forget about all this stuff. I just think it's interesting, these industry politics and how they end up affecting like the shows, and we make such a big deal out of these shows. So it's interesting trying to figure out how they come together. But honestly, once we get the game, I won't even remember this, let alone anyone else.
It's going to
Jeff,
come out, and it's going to come, and Andy will not need to send Greg a pizza because it's going to come out on time.
well, that's my last
Yeah.
question.
Sorry,
Greg
guys.
will go
Don't get
hungry.
there, guys. Nah, don't worry about it. Don't
My
worry.
last
I'll be
question
eating,
is
I'll be
for
eating a
Jeffy-
pizza on January 21st. Playing.
Same,
Same, bro.
Grub,
Same.
Yeah.
Jeffy Grub, does this game get delayed?
Yes. I'm sorry, Timur. I laughed.
What a
'cause,
smart
I could-
man Jeff Grubb
I
is.
can
What a
hear it in your voice,
smart
Timur, where
man
you're
Jeff
just like-
Grubb is.
You're just like, it's gonna come out, and I can tell you, even you don't believe it.
Let me believe. I
This
need
guy's
to
a,
believe.
This
I
guy's a
need to
fucking
believe.
clown. Come on.
They wanted to get this game out this year. Absolutely, it got pushed into 2022, and January 2022 is just not enough time. They were having issues with the last gen versions. That is their focus, but the last gen version is still causing them trouble, and it's just not enough time. They're gonna delay it. Yeah.
This is all
Sorry,
true.
man.
This is all true. But I refuse to acknowledge a delay until
Thank you, Tam.
close.
Have a
I will
little
not
faith.
acknowledge it. I'm not
Like
going to
I said-
acknowledge it.
Like I said in
Taste
the
your
E3
happiness.
predictions.
If you don't look the monster in the eyes, it's not there.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, there's nothing underneath your bed, man. Absolutely.
I believe in the power of Jesus Christ. I believe in the power of Hidetaka Miyazaki. Okay.
Ladies and
Same
gentlemen,
person.
Andy Cortez, Jeff Grubb, Timur Hussein, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have this Elden Ring conversation, as I'm sure many people will be looking forward to. But for now, of course, you can go over to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames where you can get the show ad-free. But if you're listening to this right now, that means you didn't. So here's some ads.
This episode is brought to you by Caviar. Loving good food doesn't necessarily mean you're able to cook well. If you want a great meal but need a little help, let the restaurant come to you. Caviar can help. How often do you get the best of both worlds? If you want a chef-cooked meal but don't want to leave the comfort of your own home, Caviar can make it happen. They make it happen for me very, very often. I thank them very, very much. Caviar is the food delivery app for people that are into good food. They bring the best local restaurants directly to your doorstep. Caviar keeps it local. That's what's really cool about them. All the hidden gems in your neighborhood, they're on Caviar. Trust me, all my favorite taquerias, yeah, they've been delivered to me thanks to Caviar. Not sure what you want to eat? Let Caviar's staff picks recommend the best spots in your neighborhood to find your new favorite. And just for you guys, Caviar is offering $10 off an order of $20 or more. All you have to do is put in the offer code KINDAFUNNY at checkout. Remember, that's $10 off a purchase of $20 or more with offer code KINDAFUNNY. Download the Caviar app and use the code KINDAFUNNY. Come on, guys, $10 off. That's awesome. Next up, Honey. If you want to save money, you better be using Honey, baby. We all shop online, and we've seen the promo code field taunt us at checkout, but thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey's the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Honey supports over 30,000 stores online. They range from sites that have tech and gaming products to popular fashion brands, even food delivery. I always talk about this. Everything from Best Buy to Etsy you're saving money using Honey. I have saved so much money. Kind of Funny has saved so much money just by installing it once. It's so easy. It's in your browser, and then it does all the work. When you check out, it just applies coupons. You're saving money. It's free. Why wouldn't you use this? If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out on free savings. It just takes a few seconds to install. It's so easy. Go to joinhoney.com/games. That's joinhoney.com/games to get Honey for free. joinhoney.com/games. And finally, let's talk about Credit Karma Money. Credit Karma Money is a brand new checking account where you can win cash reimbursements for making purchases. Credit Karma has always been there to help you make better financial decisions, and now they want to help even more. With a Credit Karma Money spend account, you can be rewarded for good money habits. Just pay with your debit card, and if you win, you'll be notified on the spot, and your instant Karma cash will be added back into your spend account. Credit Karma Money has already given away over $3 million in instant Karma to over 50,000 Credit Karma members and counting. Right now, you can visit creditkarma.com/winmoney to open your free account and start winning instant Karma. Go to creditkarma.com/winmoney to sign up for free and start winning instant Karma. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant Karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking services provided by MVP Bank Inc. Member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply. creditkarma.com/winmoney.
Now it's time for story number 2. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order next gen release is out today. This comes from a press release.
Yes.
Today, Respawn Entertainment, Electronic Arts, and Lucasfilm Games are excited to announce the next-gen release of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X/S consoles. This will be a free cross-generation upgrade to current owners of the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game, and is available at digital and physical retailers for $39.99. Since the game's initial launch, more than 20 million players worldwide have played the critically acclaimed Star Wars story of Cal Kestis across all consoles, platforms, and subscription services. With this next-gen release, there's never been a better time to take up a lightsaber and become a Jedi. This next-gen release provides the best possible way to experience Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order on consoles, bringing the following technical improvements. You got higher resolution textures and assets, 4K/HDR resolution, improved 60 FPS performance, and significantly faster loading times. And then this one specifically for Greg, all your trophies/achievements that were unlocked in the previous generation version of the game will unlock on the next-gen version if you transfer your save. Greg,
Now,
just how
Blessing,
hype are
there's
you?
been pandemonium about this. All right. Some kids were on my Twitter when I tweeted about it this morning saying it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. It seems to be that if you load your save, start up this thing, you have to go to a meditation point. You meditate there, and that should pop all your trophies, and you should be ready to go. Blessing, how excited am I? How stoked am I about this? Very. This is awesome. I'm glad it's here. I'm glad it happened like I said it would, that it would just be announced, be out right away. That's fantastic. Give me the point for the E3 predictions episode. But it's actually kind of a heartbreaker because it is a game that I would replay for the platinum. And so I do have this question in my head of, do I start from scratch and not actually load my save and not actually pop all the trophies? And of course, I won't. That's something I'm questioning right now. But as soon as I get home, I'm going to load the save and get another platinum. But then it's like, I do want to play some of this, and I do want to see what it looks like in 4K HDR, 60 frames a second. Like, what a great game this is, let alone with all the improvements and now, a next-gen version of it.
Yeah. When the game came out on PS4, I remember playing through it, absolutely loving it, but my biggest issue with it was how it ran and all the bugs.
Yeah.
The performance of the game was not good at all at launch. And it coming to next gen, it's going to be great to see because you're going to have the performance mode. You're going to have all these upgrades, all these enhancements, and I think it's going to make it a way better game. And so I'm excited to jump back into it and experience it for that. My question for myself is like, when am I going to jump into it? Because right now there are games galore coming out. I do not have the time whatsoever to play this game because you got, not only are we coming off Ratchet and Clank and I'm still trying to platinum Ratchet and Clank, but we also got things like Guilty Gear Strive that I want to play. We got Chicory that's been getting really good reviews. I want to check that out. Stonefly still got to get back to. There are hella games.
Mario motherfucking Golf this month, son.
Dude,
come on.
That is right around the corner. It is already June 11th, and that game comes out in what, like a week?
The 20s, I thought, right? Isn't that the date on it? I think it's the week after E3. It's the week after E3, I think. I'm booting on my calendar here. 25th, I think, yeah. Yeah,
Either way, that game is
25th, the
imminent.
25th, June
25th?
25th. Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
so
we're
like
close to that one.
that's I think the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order conversation is just like Spider-Man remastered. When I played through Miles Morales, I then started up Spider-Man on PS5, right, and had a great time for hours. And then they patched in the save, so I went and got my trophies. And then I was like, I'll still finish the game. And then what happened? I played for a couple more days, and then something happened. Another game dropped, and I've never had time to go back to Spider-Man remastered. So I really do think it'll be that I sync up my trophies and probably start a playthrough to see how it feels, see how it looks, enjoy that game, because I love Fallen Order so much, but I doubt I'll actually roll credits on it again.
Do you think this might be teeing up an announcement of Fallen Order 2 at EA Play?
God, I hope so, right? That is the hope that, yeah, we get to EA Play in July. They run a trailer there teasing it, lightsaber boots up. We, and that's all it is, super short teaser letting you know it's happening. I do think that sets the stage nicely, but it is a question, I guess, really of how far out is it and when does EA want to start teasing it?
Yeah. Greg, let's talk about story number 3. Fallout 76 is ditching its Battle Royale mode. This is Liam Wiseman at IGN.
Fallout 76 had a Battle Royale mode, everybody. If you didn't know, this is your reminder.
If you missed this, very understandable if you missed this. Yeah, there was a Battle Royale mode, and yeah, it's been ditched. Bethesda Game Studios has announced that it will be terminating play for Fallout 76's Nuclear Winter Battle Royale mode in September, as it looks to increase support for other game modes in the multiplayer Fallout title. Per the latest Inside the Vault blog, the reasoning for the decision to shut down Nuclear Winter mainly comes from the mode seemingly losing players over time, as they prefer to explore other game modes. The full statement from Bethesda is below. Quote, "When we first introduced Nuclear Winter, we were thrilled to watch so many players from our community, as well as many newcomers, dive headfirst into our take on the ruthless last player standing Battle Royale genre. Over time, however, we've seen the vast majority of players prefer to explore other aspects of the game. It has also become tougher to put full Nuclear Winter lobbies together without also making sacrifices on match wait times. Additionally, we found it challenging to provide meaningful updates for Nuclear Winter, while also developing and supporting exciting new content for Adventure Mode in recent and upcoming updates. With all this in mind, we are currently planning to sunset Nuclear Winter mode in an update coming this September." End quote. This is a bit of sad news, but also not. I don't think it's surprising whatsoever. The Nuclear Winter mode came to Fallout 76 when Battle Royale, I think, was still on the rise as a concept. Like, we were seeing PUBG kill it, we were seeing Fortnite kill it, and more games were starting to adapt Battle Royale. And Fallout 76 was one of those games earlier on that was like, oh, we can give this a shot, especially because Fallout 76, as it has been, at the time, it wasn't doing that well in terms of player base and all these different things. And so they released Nuclear Winter. And over time, it doesn't seem like Fallout 76 has done the things that it's needed to do in order to regain a player base and be able to sustain, I think, its own game, let alone a Battle Royale mode, which you need big lobbies for. And so, not surprising at all to see this. But I think it is I think the one silver lining here is that at the very least, like, they're listening and taking steps to update the game in ways that are going to benefit the whole thing. If the Battle Royale is a burden on not only like your own development, but then also the player base, as it makes matchmaking harder, then get rid of it and just focus on what matters if people aren't flocking to it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of shit to talk about Fallout 76 if you want to, and obviously from their launch they deserve a lot of it, but it is that idea that they are listening and trying to pivot to what the audience wants, right? And they did have the NPC update, they did put in quests, they are doubling down on that and following what their audience wants. And yeah, clearly they didn't want Nuclear Winter, and that wasn't something that was there. What's interesting is a wrinkle to this conversation is, of course you're talking about reading this and like the player base didn't want it, and people in the chat are like, what player base? Ha 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 ha. And there obviously is an audience that does play Fallout 76, but I think the more crazy thing, if you want to talk about, is the fact that if you remember when Bethesda games came to Game Pass, when the deal actually got finalized and everything was set to go, I saw so many people jumping into Fallout 76, right? Danny, Rihanna, Khalif, I think you did for a little while too, Bless, with them. But it was that idea that so many people jumped into it and crickets. Like, it's stuff people played and like fucked around with for a night or two and then just never came back to. It's not getting that free to play, in quotes, free to play boost that an MMO gets when it or usually gets and has an audience, and people are like, oh no, it is actually fun, you're doing it. So many people we know jumped into this, you and me included, back on PlayStation last year, where we jumped in and did it for a weekend and it was just like cool and never went back.
Yeah, and the latest time I jumped into it would have been earlier this year, and I was bummed to see that it just didn't have the quality of life things that I think it needed. You know, like after years of being out, you expect them to be at a place now where at least you have the standard stuff figured out. You know, I think there's some charm there because it's Fallout, and Fallout has that inherent charm to it. And they adding in NPCs, adding in a bunch of different stuff, I think it has put it on the track to get toward where they want to be, but still it's not at that place where I think it can keep newcomers in. You know, like all the people I know who play, all the people you listed, right? None of us are playing Fallout 76 anymore. For me, the thing was the fact that like the quest tracking didn't feel great for partying up with friends, and that's the way you want to play that game, is party up with friends. But if I can't share quests with friends, and if I'm going back and doubling back so I can do my quests because it's not tracking well, then like, you know, you're not gonna keep me in, because plenty of other games do that way better, and I'd rather spend my time playing something like Sea of Thieves or something like Division, or any other game that is doing a similar thing but better. I'd rather just go there as opposed to spend my time here and not get the features that I need in this game. And so again, I guess we'll continue to stay tuned to Fallout 76 over the years. I guess my question for you, Greg, is like, where do you think Fallout 76 goes from here? Do you think it dies out? Do you think there's still do you think there's anything still there in the tank for them to keep going and maybe keep building?
Yeah, they put out a roadmap not too long ago that was talking about, all right, cool, we are moving forward with more NPC quests, more things like that. I'm speaking a bit out of turn, but I do remember them talking about it. I think, you know, you ask what's going on with it, I think you'll find out Sunday. Like, I think, you know, we get the Xbox Bethesda showcase. I do expect you to see a Fallout 76 update there that is in line with what we're talking about, of like, cool, you know, we've done a bunch of things. Here's players have been coming back to it. Here's the next big, and it's probably just a, you know, sizzle reel trailer explaining what exactly is going on, but it'll probably talk more in detail about the roadmap and have it go on. Is it next E3? Are we still talking about Fallout 76? I think at that point, maybe it's a pre-show announcement, and then the year after that, no talk about it. Like, you have to wonder how long it sticks around and what they do for it. But I think it's been pretty universal, right? Of like, this is not what Fallout fans wanted, and I think you continue to see that be the reverberation of it, and why we saw Outer Lands, right? Outer Worlds do so. Outer Lands, Outer Wilds, Outer Worlds do, you know, so well and find an audience, and why people are stoked for Starfield, right? Because hey, that is the single player Western RPG people want from it. And that was what, you know, Fallout 76 did not launch as. And even as it's continued to morph, even when we went back that weekend and it was NPCs, I remember playing and be like, oh man, the voice acting's not great. Like, this isn't like, I'm not like wrapped up in this story. I don't feel like a really attachment to these people I'm talking to. It's all right, well, it's something to do, but so many other people are doing it better.
Yep. To stay on the topic of things that we're going to see this week, story number 4, get ready to learn more about Babylon's Fall. The Babylon's Fall Twitter account tweeted this out this morning. Stay tuned as we reveal more info about the game on Sunday. If you don't remember Babylon's Fall, I got an article here from Zachary Carnley who breaks down everything you need to know about Babylon's Fall ahead of E3 2021. This is from Game Rant. Babylon's Fall is an upcoming action RPG that has a lot of fans excited since its announcement. The game is coming from publisher Square Enix and developer Platinum Games, which by itself garnered a lot of excitement from fans of both companies. The game has been sparse on details thus far, except for a gameplay trailer and a very minor update, but still has enough fans excited about Babylon's Fall heading into E3 2021. Babylon's Fall short E3 2018 teaser trailer shows off a series of impressive art stills alongside bits of lore about the game's world, history, and major events. Setting up a dark fantasy world full of strife and religious intrigue, the first trailer ended with a scene showing a large knight about to strike down a smaller figure. The more diminutive form then reaches out with some kind of energy tendrils to disarm and strike down the figure. Babylon's Fall is one that I'm super excited about. It looks like it's going to be a traditional Platinum Games game, you know, the kind of game you expect from them, a hack and slash, fast paced game with cool art style. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more from it. A thing to note too is in their tweet that they tweeted out this morning, they had certain letters capitalized. And so you had like, it was S was capitalized, N, E, L, I, T, E, S, and N. People pointed out that was an anagram for Sentinels. And so you might see things having to do with Sentinels in the game. Is like
get
the
you
best
going?
guess.
You're looking forward to this game. Does that get you going?
When I read Sentinels, I was like, all right, like
X-Men.
That didn't do it. Oh my god, can you imagine just X-Men coming through? They slice out Babylon's Fall, and it's actually Cyclops' Fall. Let's go.
There's an X-Men game all along. Marvel's Babylon's Fall.
Yeah. Does this game do anything for you? Did you remember watching the trailer a few years ago?
No, I'd forgotten all about Babylon's Fall. Completely forgotten about it. That's why I was so thankful for the. Yeah, I remember people being into it, and that's, you know, like for me personally, Platinum's usually not my kind of developer, and so I understood why people were into it, and then I was like, okay, cool, yeah, I guess we'll find out this weekend what's going on.
Yeah, super excited to see it. And then last news story number 5. Ubisoft is making a bunch of TV shows. This is all announced at Netflix Geek Week during a stream that happened right before this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily, where they focused on the video game side of Geek Week. Ubisoft had a huge presence. Let's start off with Splinter Cell. There's a Splinter Cell animated series that's going to have, or we got our first look at it during Netflix Geek Week. I'm going to pull from Twitter, where the @NetflixGeek Twitter account tweeted this. Here's your first look at Splinter Cell animated series, and an adaptation of the best-selling Ubisoft game. Derek Kolstad, creator of the John Wick franchise, is on board to write the series. #GeekWeek. That tweet came with an image, your first look at Splinter Cell. What's his name? What's the dude? What's the dude that everybody loves from Splinter Cell with the glasses?
Fisher. Sam
Fisher.
Yeah. That's how you describe him? The dude from Splinter Cell with the glasses?
I knew it was Sam something.
They're night
Those are
vision
goggles. All right, those are goggles.
Night
Goggles
vision
are a type
goggles.
of glasses.
No,
They're the
Glasses.
same.
no, I don't think.
It's like-
I don't think so. I
It's
don't
like
think
hot
so.
dog being the same. They're in the same family.
I
They're in the
don't.
same
I don't
family,
even
is what
know
I'm
that
saying.
goggles use glass.
That can't be true, right?
My goggles don't use glass.
I think the night vision these night vision goggles probably have glass on them. Yeah.
We don't know that. We don't know that. I'm just saying, like, my night vision goggles, no glass, all plastic.
Wow.
This looks cool. I'm looking.
Just
forward
make
to
a
it. I think
fucking Splinter Cell game.
They're not going to do it. They don't want to do it.
If maybe, hopefully, this gets people super excited about Splinter Cell in a general public way, and you make a Splinter Cell game, you just go and make the goddamn Splinter Cell game I keep pitching. That's just Metal Gear 5. Just do an open world Splinter Cell. You're Ubisoft. You want to do an open world? Just copy Metal Gear Solid 5. Just fucking copy it
man.
and make a Sam
Too much
Fisher.
work for them.
Send us.
It's too much work for them, man. They rather just put out Assassin's Creed and Division. Far
They
Cry.
go and
They
make-
got Far
they
Cry.
go-
They got Far Cry down. Far Cry has a formula that's iterative. The Ghost Recon games, they know what that looks like. Assassin's Creed games, they know what that looks like. They're not gonna dedicate a whole team to figuring out what the fuck an open world Splinter Cell game looks like. It's Ubisoft. They have the money already. They're good. They're set for life. They got the formula down.
Just make Splinter Cell.
I wanted to. More from Ubisoft. We got Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix that was revealed. It's being brought to us by Adi Shankar, who we all know and love. Adi tweeted out a thread breaking down some of what you can expect from Blood Dragon remix. He tweeted this: "Breaking news! At Ubisoft allowed me to create a new universe for them that acts as a Blood Dragon remix of all Ubisoft properties. Think Captain and the Game Masters, but good, or the Bootleg Universe short films without copyright infringement. Thank you, Hugo, Helene, Gerard, and Claire for allowing this Elseworlds-inspired craziness to happen. Thank you at Netflix for seeing the potential in a cyberpunk dystopia set in 1992. After Castlevania, I felt it was time to take a big, unexpected Bootleg Universe pivot. The animation is being done by @BobbyPills. We've blended a plethora of art styles to deliver a visually distinct nostalgia acid trip. Mehdi Lefad is our series director. Artist Balak is the creative director of Bobby Pills, also overseeing this production. Also, a heartfelt thank you to my writing team, Samuel Lasky, Craig Coyne, and my number 2, Alex Larson. Fun fact, Alex calls himself Kid Twist, and Tim Geddes pointed out that Kid Twist is a battle rapper that people like. And so there you go. And this looks cool. You know, like, I really like the Blood Dragon thing. Yeah, it looks awesome. I really love Blood Dragon as an idea. You know, we talked about it during the stream that Blood Dragon was originated as Far Cry DLC, but it's been adapted to other Ubisoft things, and they've been using that as like a cool like spin-off series for multiple Ubisoft games. And so the fact that Adi is just adapting that idea of Blood Dragon and expanding it into like this cool, I guess, cross-universe thing for Ubisoft, really cool. Looks really cool. Shout out to Adi. Shout out to this.
Got it.
Last up, we got a Far Cry anime series announced. We don't know much about it, but we did get a big logo, which is just the Far Cry logo.
And this goes back,
and so-
one of the things they were teasing during the thing was Jeff Keighley, of course, co-hosting this with Rahul and Mari, and was like, oh man, I wonder which one they're gonna, adapt, or if it'll be an adaptation, yada yada yada. And I was pointing out, of course, that everybody loves Voss, right? And that actor, remember, had said something in recent times of like, oh, maybe you haven't seen the last of Voss, and that's when we all thought he was referring to Far Cry 6 maybe being a prequel and that being Little Voss alongside Giancarlo. But it looks like maybe that could be this. Maybe this is where you put Voss into the mix.
Yeah. And when you do look at the image that they put out there for the Far Cry
Right?
series, the image in the background looks like it could take place in that same island from Far Cry
100%.
3. Like it has this, like it has the water, it has the beach, it has like the trees, like the exact setting that you associate with Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 is the setting that you're seeing in the background of the logo, and so that I think that
100%.
would be the good way to go. Somebody asked during our stream, like, hey, which Far Cry would you want them to do if they're if they're adapting any of them? And my answer immediately was like, well, I'd want them to do something new. The only thing that story-wise I'd maybe want them to do would be Voss. Voss is the character that I think people love the most from the Far Cry series, and so that would make a lot of sense for them to do that.
Yeah.
But we'll see on that one.
Looks a bit like 1,
last-
2, but I'm with you that Voss makes more sense.
Yeah. Last one we have here from Netflix Geek Week is WitcherCon.
Right. So they had announced WitcherCon during it, but they didn't have much information on it. While we've been live, I got a press release about it, so I tossed this in here, right? Taking place on Friday, July 9th, 2021, WitcherCon is an epic event for Witcher fans old and new, bringing together the worlds of the Witcher video games and the TV series. It will feature a variety of entertaining and interactive panels spotlighting the people who brought The Witcher to life in-game and on-screen. Breaking news, exclusive behind the scenes, and never before seen reveals from across the Witcher franchise. Intimate looks into the creativity and production behind CD Projekt Red's games, including the upcoming mobile game The Witcher Monster Slayer, comic books and fan gear, and Netflix's live-action series, The Witcher, plus merchandise, as well as the anime film Nightmare of the Wolf. And then final thing here is expert explorations into the lore, legends, and monsters and the origins of the continent. It'll be available on both Twitch and YouTube. WitcherCon will first air July 9th, 7 p.m. CEST. Fans will be able to watch WitcherCon across 2 separate streams, with each one including exclusive content. The second stream, which also airs on Twitch and YouTube, will begin at 3 a.m. CEST on July 10th.
That's super awesome.
I'm
Yeah,
waiting
I'm
for
all about
Cyberpunk Con.
I mean, like I every time I think about CD Projekt Red now, I think about them with that air of worry to it of like, man, what are they gonna do about Cyberpunk? But then you
I
get
know, right?
reminded then you get reminded about how successful Witcher is, and it's like, okay, they're gonna be fine, because Witcher 3 one phenomenal game, but the Witcher series and franchise and IP at this point is now bigger than bigger than life, right? Like obviously start off as a book and then turned into a game, but there's so much power in that IP in mainstream now, right? It being such a big Netflix thing, it being such a big game, and it being a thing that so many fans are able to experience on a bunch of different levels, makes it this thing that now makes sense to have a con for. And so that's really awesome. I'm looking forward to checking out some of that. I'm sure many people are. And so we'll stay tuned for that one. But
What do you
Greg,
think it means for the game? I know we're trying to get out of here. We have other stuff to do today, let alone the fact that there's the Koch Media stream in less than an hour now. But they do talk about breaking news, exclusive stuff, never before, blah 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 blah. Like, do you think you're gonna get a game announcement there? Do you think we see something for another Witcher video game at tease? Do you think we get DLC for Witcher 3? Which I know sounds ridiculous, but remember, of course, when Witcher the Netflix show was airing, Witcher 3 had the most concurrence it had ever had, or whatever. So people are still behind that game.
that's a really good question. Because part of me, I mean, Cyberpunk was announced so long ago, right? And so you imagine that for CD Projekt Red, they're fine with having those long tails, that long build of hype. But I wonder now that we have Cyberpunk and it is what it is. I wonder if that's changed their mind at all. I wonder if they're in a place where they're like, where they're either one or two things, right? I wonder if they're like, okay, no, let's not have that build of hype again. Let's work on things in secrecy and then release stuff when we're ready. Or if it's the flip, where they are like, Cyberpunk is taking hit after hit after hit right now. We gotta give the people something to distract them from Cyberpunk, and so let's announce something Witcher. Let's announce either a tease for The Witcher 4 or Witcher DLC. I can see it kind of going either way, but my guess would be that If I had to guess, I would guess Witcher DLC at the most. I don't think.
At the most, yeah. People in the chat are quick to
Yeah.
point out here. They already said no new games. I need to point out, of course, companies lie all the time so they can surprise you
Yeah.
and then get your money. But yeah, I don't think you see the game obviously full blown. But I wonder, yeah, if they're gonna do anything with the game that already exists to get you to buy it again and have something to go with it.
Exactly. And I think like even if they put up a logo for The Witcher 4 or just said we're working on Witcher 4, I still think the air of Cyberpunk 2077 makes people hear that and go,
Totally.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
You know, I think if they
Do
announced
you
that-
really want to believe? Yeah. No.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think you hold that for maybe a year or 2 years when we're a little bit past this whole Cyberpunk fiasco, or maybe where you've hopefully fixed some of it enough to where people aren't mad at you, where you come out and then finally you're like, all right, you know, you've all been waiting for it. We're working on The Witcher 4. It exists. Look forward to more information from it in the future. I think you do something along those lines. But Greg,
Yeah.
The Witcher 4 is very, very far away. If I went it was coming out to mom and grab shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Greg, I'd say go ahead and refresh your Discord one more time. There you go. Out today, we got Game Builder Garage for Switch, Guilty Gear Strive for PS4, PS5, and Windows PC, which I really want to play that one. And so yeah, I gotta check my email to see if I got close for that yet. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for PS5, Wave Break for Switch and PC, and then the Persistence Enhanced for PC and PS5. Actually, Greg, I think I might have asked you about that one. Have you heard anything back from the Guilty Gear people? I'm trying to play that
No.
Strive.
No,
Damn,
I have not heard
damn.
anything
Alright,
about
might
back
just drop
about
the
them.
money.
But you have your Game Builder Garage code. You have your Wave
do.
Break code. You have your Ratchet code. In fact, just Platinum Ratchet already. You keep saying, "Oh, I'm working on it." It's an easy plat. Get it done.
I was waiting.
Son.
Listen, there were some things in that plat that were not self-explanatory, and so I was waiting for guys to come out because the mistake I made was
I told you. I can tell you what I have the platinum. I can tell you everything you need.
one of the trophies that fucked me up was the trophy for unlock every weapon. And I thought that would have required maybe collecting every golden bolt. And so that's what I've been doing. Turns out, didn't need to do that. I was on the wrong track. And so I've been
God
wasting all this
forbid.
time on
God
the plat.
forbid. You just ask your friend Greg. You know what I mean? I'm out there talking about having the platinum, celebrating the platinum. You don't even ask me how to get it. You know what I mean? You're over
Well,
there
like,
running your head into the wall. You
Just pay attention to the game. Just you know, like even I played an hour last night. What that includes the Rhino gun, right? Just
Yeah,
fucking
but I
collect
got the
the.
Rhino. I got the Rhino. It's the guns that I'm looking for are guns that they don't tell you how to get, and
Sure,
they're in a
Blessing, okay.
place. They're in a place that I would not have thought of. Actually,
Also,
I'm
Blessing,
sure I
like
would've thought of this if
there
I-
are
if
so
I-
many
if I
games.
platinumed-
There are so
if I
many more
platinumed
games.
The
Blessing.
recent, the last Ratchet game, I probably would have figured it out, but I didn't. And
Have you
so
played the
it is what it
Unbeatable
is.
demo? Have you played the A Musical Story demo? Blessing, come on. You have so many games.
There's so many games. I just
Future
wanna play
class to
Guilty Gear
video
Strive.
games falling behind. It looks like. You
I
know?
just want to
You
play
hate
Guilty
to
Gear
see it.
Strive. That's all I want. Of course, you can go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Where you write in, let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong, so we can correct it for those watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and on podcast services around the globe. Let's see. Nanobiologist is providing us more context on Fallout 76. They announced their 2021 roadmap in March, including Steel Rain story update and worlds are changing. We reported that on this show. But thank you, Nano. Corey G says goggles are not glasses, blessed. To that, I say they are things that you put on your face to see things.
So are masks.
They're glasses. They're a
Should we
kind of
call,
glasses.
you know,
Do you put
glasses?
masks over your eyes, Kevin?
yeah. With like, you
Or are you
know,
talking about like protective masks?
yeah.
Okay. You know what?
I mean, just to be clear, I wasn't, but thank you for that save.
I got him. You got him, Kevin.
Damn, I should have let you hang to dry. Let's see. Big Bad Beluga says. Okay, no, we're not rocking with that one. And then.
Nano in the chat saying there's a new Kana trailer right now. They
Great.
put a date on it or what? We've seen
Wait,
enough
this
of
new,
that game.
what trailer?
Kana Bridge says
Spheres.
Spheres.
Oh, cool. Kebabs writes in, and pretty much, you know, he writes into You're Wrong, breaking down like the thing that I need to do for the weapons, which I know.
I've
now.
told him. He knows now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers.
I know now. I know.
All I do
now,
is
but I
ask his
appreciate
friend
Kebab.
Greg. You know.
Kebabs understands where I'm coming from in terms of me not knowing where those last couple of weapons are, and so I appreciate you for that. Of course, today's Friday. We got a new week of Kind of Funny Games Daily coming to you next week. The next week's hosts go like this: on Monday, it's me and Tim. Tuesday, it's me and Tim. Wednesday, it's me and question marks. Thursday, it's Greg and Tim, and on Friday, it's Greg and me. That's right, we're back at it like a bad habit. If you're watching this live on Twitch, after this is Snow, Michael, and Nick playing some of that young Operation Tango for a little bit before we react to the Koch media presentation.
I'm pretty sure it's Koch. Or
No,
yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
say Koch. I'm gonna say. Yeah, I've heard it pronounced many ways. Of course, this has
do
been
it however you want.
Of course, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. We have a Patreon post show for those that are subbed at the silver level of patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, so stick around for that. Otherwise, until next time, goggles are basically glasses.